Welcome to the March 31st, 2022 Parma City School District Board of Education work session. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Ms. Nucio.
Mrs. Bratz.
Present.
Mrs. Carpus.
Present.
Mr. Kreis.
Present.
Mr. Ruda.
Present.
Mr. Vaughn.
Present. Unless there is an objection, we will dispense with the reading of the special meeting notice. Seeing none. Dr. Smiley, can you please confirm that the public portion of this meeting is currently being live streamed?
Yes, it is.
Can you please monitor the live streaming throughout the public portion of this meeting? And if there is a problem, please speak up immediately so that the technical difficulty can be addressed.
Yes, I will.
Just a reminder, committee members are welcome to attend a Board of Education work sessions. However, there is not an opportunity to participate. So that brings our discussion. So I put together this thing. Everybody's got it in front of them. There is a spreadsheet thing. I couldn't share it with you via email. And actually, I didn't want to. I wanted to make sure we had it here with you to do. So what I want to do is if we can go person by person and maybe give one advantage of, we'll start with 4.2. And we'll do, give one of the advantages that you have thought about and that you wrote down on your postcard or whatever you wrote it on. And Dr. Smilek will be typing those up. It'll be on the spreadsheet and it'll be up behind us. Okay, after we finish that, we'll do disadvantages of that program or of that model, and then we'll do that. When we're finished with those, we'll rank them. One, being not something we really need to have, and three, something we really, really want. That's important. That's important to us. So you have to, so if one of the advantages like career tech is at one building, that would be something that would be very important, and you'd make it a 3. Okay? And then we'll record all those, and we'll take an average, and then we'll average the whole tally. And somewhere in the midst of this, it's going to end up mathematically, one of the models is going to come out higher than the other, or maybe appearing that it's going to be better. Okay? And, feel free to have discussion with it. Just remember, I'm trying to get rid of all the bias, because I know everybody wants a certain thing. Some of us are on bubbles, and we need to do this. Okay? So I thought it would be a very important thing to do today. So, any discussions with that idea? Everybody understands what's going to happen? Everybody? A nod? Anything?
Well, we're of course not bound by the math, correct?
Well, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Oh. Well, that's the purpose of it. But all right, so like I'll do one of the. I'll go one of the advantages first. I'll go first on this one. So one of the advantages I feel is important for the 4.2 model is it is 6 buildings rather than 7. It's 6 buildings rather than 7. So it's one less building we have to build. That would be one of my things. So you can write it in there if you want.
I was going to say, can I ask a question? Do you want us to write these as we go, or do we want to write them down once Charlie does it?
Charlie's writing them down if you want to write them down. I'll just write like 6 or 7.
I also shared this with you, so I don't know if you guys brought your laptops, but you can just open it.
The one day that I did not bring my laptop?
Oh, well, cool.
Okay.
I have my phone, though, so we could do it on my phone.
I feel like everybody
right.
always has their
So-
laptop.
I know, we usually always do.
So that's why we'll rank them after we list them all. Okay?
We want to rate them after.
Rate them, sorry. Not rank them, rate them. So who'd like to go next? Jack, do you want to go next?
Well, I'm going to go, and I'm probably going to blow the whole thing open because I'm not going to do this. I'm going to come up with, I came up with an idea that was based on my interviews with many people in the district, not people with just students in the district. I believe in 1 high school, two middle schools, and 4 elementary schools. I'm not changing my mind. That's where I'm at. I've thought about this a long time. I haven't slept nights thinking about this. I apologize if I'm not going to be on the team, but it seems like I'm not on the team unless I'm needed. I want to be quite frank with you. I think that it is our responsibility. Fiscal responsibility is the number one thing, and the number one thing is saving $1.8 million on each high school that we have. That's $1.8 million that we don't have to go back to the voters for, $1.8 million each time. I actually feel that I compromised on the middle schools to have one in 2 different neighborhoods. I believe that 4 elementary schools in neighborhoods is a good thing. You bring in the neighborhood area and support a neighborhood school. That's where I'm at, and I'm not changing my mind.
I have a question.
Well, no one's trying to make you change your mind.
No, I'm just telling you that this is where I'm at.
Can we talk through the math a little bit? And Dr. Smilek, you might be needed here. So, because I think everyone at this table has been losing sleep and staying up nights about the different things. So, initially, I had thought the same thing about, one high school, less money, that kind of thing. But when we looked at the 2 pieces, when we looked at the bond issue, 4.2 was less expensive than 4.21, and then 4.2 was less expensive because we didn't have to maintain as many campuses. With 4.21, we have to maintain a whole nother campus, whereas 4.2, we have to maintain an entirely less campus. So are we really capturing 1.8 million in savings anymore? Because I think we capture that on a consolidation phase, but not on a new build phase when we take into account that we're 4.21, one high school is going to cost the taxpayers more money to build than.
Let's look at the education side.
Well, that's why we're doing it. That's
the
what we're
ability
doing.
to see, based on what Tiffany has told us, that one high school is much more available to not only the students but teachers to teach these programs to our children. That's my second side of this.
So that would be an advantage then.
Absolutely.
So I don't know, you wouldn't want to do this. All I do is you get to say your piece. And
I kind of said my piece, and that's where I'm kind of at.
I think we wanted to rank them, though, so we can take value in what you're adding, like, the 1.8, if that's really the number, like, that's a value in the.
The people that I interviewed, and I interviewed a lot of people before I got sick. I apologize for getting sick.
Don't apologize for that.
Kind of put me out of commission. But the people I interviewed, which included almost every elected official in Parma and Parma Heights, they are all for one high school. Every one of the elected officials.
See, I think some of us got different.
Well, then you must have talked to different people than I did. Because when I talked to them, it was one high school, and that's what they wanted, and that's what I went with. Because when I talked to them one-on-one, that's what they told me.
I think our one-on-ones with elected officials have all yielded different results. I think, unfortunately, so I don't want to put too much stock into, not that I don't value, you know what I mean, but I want
These are the people that are going to have to support this, and if they don't support it, or if they just support it with a fluff and not real support, it doesn't go anywhere.
I'm a fan, though, of putting your money where your mouth is, and I'm looking back at who's been up, we've had this, who's put their money where their mouth is in the past? Who's gotten up and who's knocked on doors with us, and I'm not just talking about a bond issue, I'm talking about when we were in the hole with an operating levy and we needed people to mobilize and get out there and pass an operating levy. Who are those people?
Well, you have to encourage them and you have to get them to go. You have to,
Okay, well,
you have to work them.
not to cut you off, but can you do any advantages? Can you say anything advantage or disadvantage of either one of these things, and then we can participate that way?
I am
Or you
not-
just want to abstain altogether?
I'll abstain.
Okay, so zero's on the road for him, so, or whatever we come up with. Cindy?
Okay,
No, you're okay.
I was, okay, you already said 6 buildings instead of 7. I was
Correct.
looking at the shared facilities and the economy of that, fewer campuses to maintain. We've already talked about that. So I will skip over to the locations. both the Valley Forge campus and the Normandy campus are larger locations. I know that we can build on the Parma High School campus, and I find that to be one of the advantages, the location of the Parma High School campus being the center of the district. However, it's
Wait,
also...
wait.
Just a point, and I won't jump in unless I hear something that I believe is inaccurate, but Parma Senior High is bigger than Normandy, if I understand correctly.
Oh, okay, that's
Land mass
different than the
anyway.
information that I had. Okey-dokey.
Yeah, acreage was Valley Forge's largest, Parma Senior High second, Normandy.
Gotcha.
Can we, hold on, Cindy, because can we, when we say something, can we say this is an advantage for which plan?
We're doing
Because
4-2.
Parma Senior High, because I thought Parma Senior High being location was an
Yeah,
advantage for 421.
I just mentioned that as I
Oh,
was
okay.
saying this, that
Sorry.
it is in the middle of the
It was the
district.
synopsis.
However,
Gotcha,
the location of Valley Forge and Normandy are on main roads, and they're not centered in the middle of a neighborhood.
Main roads. Okay, good. Amanda?
Oh, okay, hold on.
you ready to come back?
No, I just closed my document. My children were texting me. Okay. So I was going to go with the, so I have stuff for all four, but right now we're just doing advantages for two.
Advantages for 4-2.
That I believe in aligning with our 3 district goals, fiscal responsibility, that 4-2 is a smaller ask to our community, and long-term, we would be operating 1 less property. So I think it maintains
That's
our...
the same as a 6-7. That's the same as you.
Okay, well then just use it's a lower ask to our community.
Okay. Boy. Mark?
I'm kind of with Jack, only I'm not going to abstain. I'm just going to, the only really advantage I see to 4-2 is over what we currently have by having 1 less building, or that there's no 5th grade, but that's a personal thing to me. There's no 5th grade in the middle school. But we've heard from them that, oh, you know, they think that it's better for the students for the 5th grade to be in the middle schools. So, you know, I'm going to defer to
The 4-2 would be
Tiffany.
a 6-12 building, though.
Right.
Campus.
Right, so the only advantage that I really see is that 5th grade
grade
would
is
be in
not.
the elementary school as
Okay.
opposed to, and that's just a personal thing for me.
Well, that's an
Whereas,
advantage. I have that written down.
I want to say, well, as Tiffany stated, that it's, research has shown that it's better for for 5th graders to be in the middle school. So is that really an advantage?
But we get to rank them, so
Yeah.
based
just
on
saying
like,
that.
yeah.
That's- I
So
mean,
if it
that's
might be
good.
high to
Thank
you, you know what I mean?
Thanks. Oh, no, that's perfect.
I have some
Perfect.
educational ones though for this one too. So like, we've
Okay.
only touched on buildings.
Well, I would just like, that was how I started, so.
Oh, okay.
So let me
We're
go-
going around again.
Yeah, we'll go around again.
Okay.
We're not done. We'll just go around. I didn't want to everybody listen and probably not be able to keep up. All right, so that was the buildings, shared facilities, we talked about that already. Okay, so it does allow, 4-2 does allow movement for advanced students, for students that are in 6th, 7th, or 8th grade who are in advance in, say, math or something, or they could go over into the high school portion of the building via pass or escort or something, and they can take a class with in the high school level. So that would be an advantage of 4-2.
Do we currently have students that do that?
They get bused.
Do you know how many there are?
I do not. Do you know how many there are?
A handful.
A handful?
Just a handful? Okay,
Still a bonus.
I understand.
So that was my educational one. One of them was I had 5th grade.
You want me to go next? or-
Yeah, Jack's abstaining, so go ahead.
I very much like the idea of the mentorship of the high school students available to the middle school students, and that opportunity for that collaboration between the 2 schools.
Okay. So mentor program.
Do we currently do any of that?
We do, and actually we do, the
EV.
program I'm thinking specifically is actually elementary and high school. That's been a really success this year between Pleasant Valley and Valley Forge.
So it's
Patriots
something
and
that we
Stars.
already do.
Correct.
So it's,
But we could do it on a bigger scale.
I understand, but I'm just saying, it's something that we already do. It's not like this is
I-
something new that we would be able, a new opportunity that we'd be able to offer. This is
I
something
think we're
that
going to find that a lot.
it might
even when
be
we get into
easier
the-
to do.
Right.
But it's not a new
That's the advantage.
opportunity.
It makes it easier.
Right, no, I was just trying to figure out if it was a new opportunity or just an easier opportunity.
Cindy? Oh, you
She
just
said
went-
hers. Okay,
Sorry,
so
ma'am.
actually, I wanted to add something to Cindy's real fast, just so, I found this in my research, that, so I cited all this stuff so I could send it to everybody, but, so the, on the U.S. Education piece, they said between 60 and 70% of U.S. students become chronically disengaged from school during 7th or 8th grade. I'm sorry, between 60 and 70% of African American U.S. students become chronically disengaged from school during 7th or 8th grade. And that middle school and high school peer mentoring has been found to decrease that by as much as 70%. And I thought that was an interesting statistic given our diverse population in our community. My fact, though, was that by 8th grade, this was on U.S. News and World Report, but it was based by like 18 different studies were all cited in it, that by 8th grade, almost 50% have lost interest or deemed it irrelevant to their education. That by 8th grade, almost 50% of students have lost interest or deemed science irrelevant to their education or future plans. 4.2 would allow students to engage in vocationals in our science field or things like that long before that 8th grade mark. So going in and seeing them, seeing what potential, how science could be used in our biomedical and, you know, all those different things. And then to kind of like a summation of those two things is that I would argue that by addressing both of those, we would authentically begin to fill classes with limited interest in enrollment, which is a common thing that we hit right now.
So can you put that in a nutshell?
Middle school students would have better access to CTE.
There you go.
He's got it.
I knew someone would. Yeah, Mark? You don't have anything else? Okay. All right, so one of the other things I had for 4.2 is that there'd be fewer transitions from building to building. So you're going to go from elementary school to your high school campus or that 612 campus. So you only have really from elementary, you have one change to go over to the 4.2. That was one of the advantages I have. And that everything else is, and I have one more, unless someone else says it.
You can go for it.
Want me to go?
You got one?
Yeah, I still see the loss of opportunities in extracurricular activities. While that's not the highest level of perhaps what we look at, I'm certainly highly tied to the academic issues. I just don't think we lose that many academic opportunities for students, and in some ways we gain academic opportunities. But anyway, back to the loss of opportunities in extracurriculars. We have fewer leadership opportunities in student council, in clubs, on teams. Fewer students will have an opportunity to participate in some activities.
That seems to be more of a disadvantage of having one building versus the other. So do you want to say there's more opportunities for extracurricular activities?
I thought that's what I said. Oh, I'm sorry, I worded it inappropriately. I've got it as
That's
a,
why I was just wondering, I just want to clarify.
thank you, yeah.
So more extracurricular opportunities?
Yeah, more opportunities for students to serve in leadership roles, as well as on teams and in a variety of
Okay.
activities.
Great, so there's
I do have one more.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You have 7? There's 9. Okay.
He is 10. Oh, no, 9. Yeah. No, 10.
9.
No, 10, sorry.
Go.
Oh, I.
Go ahead, you do one more.
Okay. So my last one was that, and it's going to tie into a disadvantage too in another way, but I think that, again, with our We've hit the increased student achievement, fiscal responsibility, and the transparency piece. I think this would be unique to 4.2 and not so much 4.2.1, is that families moving into the district or considering moving into the Parma City Schools would have very clear pathways for their children's educational journey. They would understand. When we get to the 4.2.1 disadvantages, that's kind of one of my sticking points a little bit with the placement of the elementary schools. So I think this would give very clear, defined roles. Oh, I'm moving into this community. My kid's going to go to this school and then this campus. Done. And I think that would be a benefit to bringing in new families into the district by using the 4.2 model.
Clear pathway.
Wouldn't the elementaries be the same regardless?
The only change in the elementaries is the movement of the 4th elementary from Parma Park to Pleasant Valley. A 4.2 would move the 4th elementary to Pleasant Valley instead of Parma Park, but everything else is the same.
Putting more space between Greenbrier and the other elementary.
Okay, so that seems like that's the advantages we have, the 11 things. Someone else has something else? Left behind.
You know, I may have a little bit of this crossed over, so when we get done with this, I'll...
All right, so now with those things, and then we can start, you can think about ranking those statements, 1 through 3, and what is the most important to you, what's least important. And then we can do, so you can think about that. But I wanted to start and get the disadvantages going, because there are disadvantages to both plans. So first disadvantage I have really is a big one, and that is that career tech would be split. They wouldn't be in one locality. Is that correct? They'd be at each of those campuses?
Correct.
Yeah. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, I'm struggling a little bit with how we do this, because for me, when we bring forth, when I looked at all of this sort of stuff, as we bring forth either a pro or a con, I find a way to overcome it, or how big of a block it is that kind of requires, I'll just give you an example. Okay, then let's make up something for career tech. How much do we really lose in that, having it be at 2 campuses instead of 1 campus? We gain, obviously, from it being in 2 instead of 3, but how many students actually travel, which is not great for those students, but in the whole big picture, I think that'd be important to think about. So I'm just using that as an example, but I have that for all of my things that are important. Some things that I think are detriments, I think of ways to overcome those detriments,
Well,
too.
it's not a problem, but it's still at a disadvantage, correct?
You still have students
Okay.
that would normally want to take a vocational class, but they don't want to travel. They don't
Right.
want to leave their school. So still
Right.
having
Yeah.
it split, they're going to say, they're not going to go and do it because they don't want to leave their school.
That's the disadvantage.
Right.
Right.
Well, that's what we were on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
That's what we're doing.
You're doing good. You're doing good.
Yeah.
So I have like 2 counterpoints to that. So
Well,
this is where I guess I'm struggling with you now. Because my 2 counterpoints would be that, 1, we're unique. We have them in our district. Everybody else's district has to go out. And 2, that comes back to if we were at 4.2, you'd have more kids walking through and seeing those classes. They'd be more committed to the possibility of taking a vocational because they've been looking forward to it for several years. That travel period they've been able to plan since freshman year and even maybe take some more advanced courses in the middle school level to be able to prepare for that journey. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but if you're in the middle school at one campus, you're not walking through and seeing the CTE at the other campus. You're only going to the one, so you're not going to see that and go, oh, cool, I want to do that, because it's not at your campus.
I mean,
you would have to travel and go and check it out.
And we do that to an extent now, I believe, right? We go see them now?
Well, don't they do like career?
There's different experiences, yeah.
Yeah,
career
so I
tech
mean, we
open
could still
houses.
do something like that, but it was just I'm finding that there's a lot of things that aren't so
That'd be big.
cut and dry for me. But one of the disadvantages to the 4.2 for me is for the 4-2 is the classes, the class sizes, without addressing the root cause of why we're not filling those classes.
So there's going to be the possibility of not running a class.
Right, that's still a
That was one of my-
disadvantage for
that was
me.
one of my
So
things, too.
unless we find a way to address that, which I would like to find a way to address it even before this happens, but that's still a disadvantage for me, a student not being able to take world history or not being able to, everything, Mrs. Stropko was saying about those different classes.
Right. Okay. Cindy?
I'm working on it. Hang on just a second here.
What about Mark? You didn't give a disadvantage for
You
4-2?
went with the CTE things. Is
Well,
there
that was,
something else you
that
want
was
to
just, well, no.
add? Is there something else?
Yeah,
Okay. Sorry.
that you're cementing a divided community for the next 40 years. There's no getting away from it because you'll never be able to unite the community.
Splitting the community
it.
east and west.
Right, where these communities need to be united. They've been split for too long. It's always been the Normandy versus Forge versus Parma, and it needs to be united, in my opinion. It's been long overdue.
So that would be a disadvantage, then, right? Which is actually one of the disadvantages I wrote down. That wasn't my top one, but CTE was.
If it
but that
didn't
was-
take
that was one as
37
well.
years to pay for it, you might be able to correct that
Right.
if it turned out to be
For sure.
a problem. But
For sure.
you're just saying for the next 40 years, we guarantee it's going to be divided.
Yeah, I'm just trying to take all the feelings out of it and just put in, get rid of all the bias. Is there anything else you have?
Well, it was a counterpoint to that, which I had unity as a pro in the 4-2-1, but I have many thoughts on how we could
So you're all over the map on your.
help that. Kind of.
Okay.
Well, when I found disadvantages, I tried to think of ways to.
Right, which is fine, but
You know, work
we
it.
still need to list those disadvantages, what those are, and that's how this is going to work, or else it's not going to work very well. So, my other one was traffic issues. Traffic flow issues in a 4-2-1 model. Would be-
We're in the 4-2, aren't we?
Yes.
that was-
Yeah, we're in 4-2.
I'm sorry.
You're goofing. That's not for this one.
Cindy's rubbing off on me.
There's another one for the 4-2 traffic. I was just going to Southwest this morning, and it took me forever to get past Normandy, and that was just one school with 1,000 kids
Right.
going in and out.
Right.
You double
the
that.
traffic pattern, so-
It's going to be
Yeah.
terrible, because there's no other access other than Pleasant Valley. So if you're on Pleasant Valley, you're stuck in that school traffic. Same thing with Forge, you have the side street. I forget the name of
Independence,
it.
yeah.
But
Yeah,
but
it
you
would be
basically
the traffic patterns.
Yeah,
would be-
it's
I was right then. I was good there. All right.
it's bad around Normandy now.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Anything else disadvantage-wise for these? Really want this to work.
I know you do. I think we might all need a minute once these are on here to regroup and read through this, and,
So you can go through and.
because I missed something on the first set. I'll be honest, I don't have all of them on here. I only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
You only have those 3 disadvantages.
11. Oh, maybe I do have, no, the first one I was talking about.
Traffic patterns. Charlie.
No, I got that. I was talking about the first
Oh,
part.
never mind, you put it on there. You just stuck it in there.
Did you want to think back to the committee process at all and think about the data that was provided? And if we do not go with what appeared to be a really most compelling data point in the community survey of a clear preference for a one high school campus, is a disadvantage for a 4-2 that we listen, but that's not what we're doing. And so we're in some ways
So the
taking a-
disadvantage would be not listening to the community.
Tra-
What you're
yeah,
saying.
did we take a hit
So we can
transparency?
add it on there.
I think that, I 100% think that should be on there. I think just for clarification, at least in my mind, I'm really struggling with the survey because of the limited, like if you, let's not look at percentages, let's look at how many people that was, and that was only a handful of people that sway those numbers one way or another. And I know
don't-
that's
yeah,
not,
and
that's
I
not
don't have
anybody's
to put
fault.
it on. I'm
No, I
My
think
role
it's,
isn't to add anything, I'm just asking. if
I think
that's-
it's a good point.
I think it's a good point.
I think it's a good point, you know, even given its survey size, it's a valid.
I didn't,
About putting, listening to the community would be a disadvantage if we didn't listen to the community.
oh, absolutely.
Now, I will say
I
this,
mean, I was
though.
going to get to that, though, what they presented to us, the community surveys and all that is a disadvantage or an advantage to the 4-1, so I was,
Absolutely good.
or 4-2-1.
Okay, so we can go through, you can rate them, your 1 through 3s, and then we'll,
So you're going to rate them, hand them to me, I'll type them in?
correct. Yeah, it should take us
The
a
other,
second.
wait, there's one other disadvantage to 4-2, which was when we asked the 4 elementary schools, we could offer the exact same experience all the way across, and we lost that when we went to 2 high schools because, you know, we couldn't necessarily have all the course offerings because the number of, remember we went over that?
We didn't lose any experiences at the elementary
That's
school.
what it said in the last slideshow, that in the last,
What we said was you couldn't be uniform at your secondary campuses.
right,
though.
it's secondary campuses.
Elementaries, yeah.
We already have that, though, the loss of not being able to offer a class. That
I
was the.
didn't see that on here.
Yeah, it's down there.
It says higher possibilities of not running a course.
Yeah, that's the
Oh,
same
okay,
thing.
all right. You also have the, are we done with the disadvantages?
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say, because you also have,
I've already rated them on that.
oh,
term.
the
But you can say-
expense of having 2 marching band directors, 2 marching bands, 2 football teams, 2, you know, just the expense of having 2 of
But that's what I was
everything.
asking Jack. I think that's very similarly countered by the idea that we're maintaining one whole less campus, one whole less property with 4-2 versus 4-2-1. That's why I'm saying I think those are, I think those are, I don't think those are valid, not valid arguments, because that's not what I'm trying to say, but I think that we're looking at one side of it without looking at both sides of it. So I think that can go both ways. Like,
Right.
I
Well,
think when you
like-
go to the other, when you go to 4-2-1, an advantage would be that you don't have to pay for those.
I think that would be an advantage of the 4-2-1. So
Yeah, all right.
save that one for the advantage part, I think.
Excuse me, Charlie,
That's
can
exactly what
That's
happens.
a lot of the
you
disadvantages
show
are advantages to the
the
others.
advantages up there? Make sure I have them on my list. Thank you.
This worked much better in my head.
Remember, 3 is high, please. We're not ranking them, we're rating
The
them.
rating, yeah, 1 to 3.
I wish there was a 0.
You can put 0. If it doesn't concern you.
Okay, because I have an
If you don't-
advantage one that doesn't concern me, so I don't want to give it a point, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
absolutely. It comes on an average anyway, so.
It's true.
Steve, need a score for 6 buildings instead of 7?
How many scores should we have?
Yeah, 6 or 7.
Let's put it like that.
2?
7, 8, 9, 10.
Did you rank those? Did you do them on there?
I'm reading what he's,
I know, did you type in your rankings?
no, I didn't touch the spreadsheet on there. I'm just reading what he's.
You're gonna
Are you gonna
you're
rank
rate them though?
Oh,
So you're counted in the, because we want to value yours too, so that when we're looking at them,
Right,
that's the whole point of it, so that we come to the general, we have an idea of where it fell with everybody.
I know it's consuming.
so what's the ratings again? 1, 2, 3?
1, 2, or 3.
And 1.
Three means it's
Well, you
a,
can do zero, zero, one's-
It's very important to
three is
you.
very important.
0 means that you don't care.
well, we invented 0 as we went.
I had a 0 in the advantage column and in the disadvantage column, like it was like a moot point to me.
Pointing out the rules are evolving.
It's okay.
I'm fine. Angry, but fine.
What are you angry about?
How long has you guys had this?
We just got it when we got here.
Least important.
But you didn't know about it before?
No,
One is-
three,
This is the most important.
Text.
3 is the most important.
1 is the least important.
Correct.
Oh, I don't know.
The other day.
He sent it to the group chat. But he
I
was-
sent you an email too. I sent it actually an email.
Send me a text.
I sent it both.
I didn't get the text.
I sent it both, so.
Yeah, because the first time I saw it too was here when we got here.
This is all blindsided to me.
No, why would you, it's understandable now.
I was gonna say mine's not loading, so I can't see when we sent it.
Just sent it to. Here. You answered it, so. You said thanks, Steve, 4 o'clock. So it's like good afternoon. This is, I sent that email discussing Thursday.
What is the most important? 3 is the least important?
No, the other way.
3 is the least important.
So the most points,
God, I'm looking at these going.
There's too many threads, right? It's just to the board.
Wait a minute, maybe I'm messed up now. Maybe I'm saying it wrong.
Right, that's what
It's
I'm.
not that one.
Hang on.
This is the one,
Yeah, that one's got too many people.
there's too many people, it has to be like 4 people. So this is about 3.
The last text, I think, is Jack's text. And mine at least.
I think it's the other way. Hey, you guys, just to confirm, 3 is the most important, 1 is the least important. So 3 is the most, 1 is the least.
And this is a text.
Type in Steve up top, maybe it'll pop up.
1 is the most, 3 is the least.
It's not.
No.
No,
Keep saying, why do I keep saying this wrong?
Here.
I was
I
like,
need
Mark,
more.
that's not going to give you the answer you want.
I'm trying to do it right.
This is not, it's not.
3 is, that's okay, 3 is the most.
not what this
1 is the least. All right, I got
There
it.
you go.
I'm sorry, Steve.
That's all right. Hey, I was struggling with it, and I wrote it on my paper
This one here.
before, at the beginning.
I didn't read that. Yeah, I know that, I responded that I would be here at 4 o'clock.
You said, see, this probably didn't pop up for you. Whoops, I'm sorry. It probably didn't pop up for you then. That's weird. Yeah. Okay. We good?
No, I think
Turn those in.
Steve and Cindy are still, or Steve and Cindy.
I'm just
Cindy and
finished.
Mark are
I'm
still
still
doing it.
finishing.
Still working? We got 2 more minutes. We'll put some pressure on you. We got to get these last ones done. Or it's just a moot point.
Haley took first in shot put yesterday.
That's nice. Mark, are you doing that right on the computer? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Why is it showing up there?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm looking
Yeah,
at you.
yours are
It's
up.
not going to show up because Pam, oh, it is showing
It
up.
is showing up, yeah.
For some reason before you hadn't moved up, or maybe just because
So
you
you
were showing a
can
different
use-
part of the screen.
You can do those averages, Charlie, you can do those averages while we're doing the,
I don't think we're quite done yet. I don't have Cindy's.
How come mine aren't up there? Did you not put mine in?
Send that down.
I'm not getting them. Here you go.
I don't see any of
Pass it
mine.
down. Jack, would you pass it down?
Don't have yours.
I gave you mine. That's
Did you
me.
not get my email?
Mark, Mark, did you change the
That's why I sent that text, just in case you did.
I didn't.
Did Steve?
I should have called you. And I called you too. I was trying to call you, you didn't answer my phone.
Well, I knew
She's not in there.
that. John had called me and kind of gave me a tip-off, but I didn't know anything about it.
This is Cindy's.
Yeah.
Now it makes sense to me, because that wasn't making sense a second
And I
ago.
don't know how we got to where we got. I wasn't part of it.
Main road's not there.
But you
We
were.
didn't get anywhere. That's the problem.
You see, I was still back on the, I know I missed a lot of meetings.
No, but you're.
I was still back on the
Fifth graders not.
411, and then we went to 421, which I compromised on.
I didn't realize you were
I
part
do
of that.
not believe, I just,
That's right. That was, I'm sorry for the lack of confusion.
I'm just,
Yeah, so that's the thing we're looking
That's why I
here.
brought the thing up for the
Are you good,
house
Mark?
one day, because I know we
Yeah, I
changed.
got it.
All set?
You know what I
Okay,
mean?
we're all set here.
A little bit, because I
Okay.
knew we had gotten far.
All right, so let's move on. Let's do the 4-2-1 model and see if we can do this a little faster this time. So one of the advantages, I'll do the first advantage. The first advantage I have, and it's like probably the most important thing to me, is having CTE. It's all in one place. CTE is our pride and joy of the community and of the system. And if it's all in one spot, then it's going to continue to grow. So that would be my one advantage. I have several. So I just didn't want to take anyone's thunder, so
Most centrally located area.
centrally located area.
Was that the one you wanted?
I was next.
Okay,
That was
put that for Cindy.
The central
Cindy and Mark are
location.
going to tussle over there.
Okay, so central location. Cindy, you got something else? Because Mark threw your story.
That was Cindy's, I'll think of something else.
I'll go with the unity thing.
The unite the,
You stole mine.
well, see.
It was on
see
my
what
list.
happens? Unite the community. To rally around a school. So that was one of my things, was a potential to unite the community. Central location is new. What do you got?
I have a question before I give mine. Do we have a minimum number, Charlie, where we will not run a class?
Yeah, we
I know
never.
we have it now, though, but like, if we had one high school, would that minimum number still exist?
Yeah.
But
Did not help my case.
but the likelihood of it,
What's the
Not
minimum
running.
number?
Likelihood is less.
Is what-
12 to
potential is
15,
less.
and never below 12.
Okay,
So
so
basi-
less like, in an advantage, less likely to have to cut a
Close a
class.
course.
Yeah, go ahead,
So-
that's mine, less likely to close a
all-
course.
Right, all classes should run. That's one of my things too. So we got that. Unite the community. So also at the 4-2-1, I also have one athletic team per sport, which increases competition amongst athletes and extracurriculars on stage. So that was one of my advantages to having that.
Then you got another advantage?
Well, did you use that more academic offerings?
Yes, she did.
Okay.
No, I did not. I said you would have less.
It's the same.
Okay.
It's the same thing.
One and
It's the same thing, just
Okay.
worded
Yeah, it's
different.
all classes should run. So that's basically yes.
Okay.
Do you have something else?
Let me see, we might have covered mine. Greater teacher collaboration all in one building.
There you go. I like that one. Okay. I don't know, Mark, you're not going to like this, but I'll have fifth grade in the middle school. So I know you don't like that one, but it's
Right,
an
yeah.
advantage that a fifth grade in the middle school. So they have, excuse me, they'll have, there'll be a bigger middle school. So you have 5, 6, 7, 8. So I have, that's as an advantage. The fifth grade would be up there, and they would be able to take classes with, say, a science teacher or a math teacher.
with the one high school, you have potentially 3 access roads instead of 1.
Okay.
Because you'd have the
So
park.
location,
So location.
we already have that,
We have that
though.
central location,
Oh, well,
so,
there's, well,
So,
because
but
traffic is a
traffic-
concern about people.
Traffic.
Right, right.
So this is an advantage that there's 3 access
3
points at
access
this
points.
one compared to only 1 at
yeah, that works.
Normandy or Valley Forge.
Okay. Very good.
How come you gave us no lines or disadvantages to
I don't know, it
421?
did cut off. It's probably on my printer.
I was the one who made the copies.
Well played, sir, well
Wait a minute, I
played.
think I have.
All right,
It was,
Sure.
it was the one that, and I know she doesn't put a whole lot in it, but it was the one that the community wanted the most. And it's the recommendation of the senior leadership team who did most of the legwork in putting all this together.
Well, that's,
Came up
yeah,
with that.
right, we got that, but we still want to list it as, the advantages
wanted
of
to-
having that. But having that model, that's not an advantage of having that model, that's just a recommended.
Oh, yeah, I
But,
get, yeah.
So it's not an
so we're
advantage of
not
having
having that
that.
apparent.
You know what I mean?
No.
So we want to, make sure we stay.
Well, I don't remember everything that they said. They said a lot
No,
of
that's,
stuff.
yeah, I know, it's okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Whoops.
What are you doing?
I hit the wrong button.
Are we at half mark?
Oh, gee.
Oh,
Okay,
you're-
no, he did
Reset.
wrong.
There we go.
Okay, so any more advantages to add to that, of having that one campus system? I mean, I'm sure there's more, and we're missing them. Most of the important ones were, CTE being one in place, classes should all run, so we're educating our students. It's a potential to unite the community. 5th grades in middle school were some of the things I had.
Less chance
And then
to
there'll
close the
also
course
be
with
less,
course offerings.
there'll be less bus travel time if we have busing. So there'd be less travel time for on the bus.
Do
or
we
would it-
know?
Yeah,
I think it's
just
a
a
new-
point of accuracy, I think we should leave that alone,
Leave that
because
alone?
those mileage numbers we looked at last week were so close.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's no problem. I'll cross it off my list. All right, so we have that advantages, so some disadvantages?
I have 3, I can list my
Yeah.
3 right off the rip. Okay, my first one is, on this one, is that I'm very concerned with the traffic and coming out of Parma Senior High, knowing what it looks like now.
So traffic flow.
So traffic flow, that's my first one. My second one is Parma Park being a elementary location, being so close
Okay.
to Greenbrier.
Oh, you're going to list all?
I was just going to give my 3 because
Okay.
they're really quick.
Okay.
And my last one, and probably my biggest disadvantage that I'm coming to, is I feel like part of that plan, specifically the middle school piece of that plan, might not be, 2 middle schools might not be the best. I know we're there, but like for me, I feel like that decision might be more based on tax base, which is important to electability and keeping our community whole, but educationally speaking, I feel like maybe that 411 initial was a better educational role than so I don't know how you want to word that, but like the dividing the middle schools up into 2 becomes a disadvantage for me
be-
because I feel like it wasn't done.
Well, 2 elementaries would feed into one of the middle schools,
I know.
right?
Right.
And then those 2 elementary, or middle schools would feed into the one high school.
To me, it seems like the middle schools then become like out of place component to have 2 of them. It makes sense to have 2 in the 4-2 model because you're feeding up, but to have 2 of them, because we got there because of many different factors, but I just don't believe the path that led us to 2 middle schools in the 4-2-1 model was 100% educationally driven. And I was part of that. I'm 100% will own up to that. I was part of that. As I look back, it's become a disadvantage for me because I don't believe that that's how we got to that. Does that make sense? I don't know how you.
I don't remember it as being a tax-based issue. I remember it as being people thought there were too many middle school kids in one location.
In one building,
Okay.
right.
And so the compromise really was,
More location-wise.
yeah,
was the
intuitively you
tax
go
base.
from, smaller
Okay.
to larger.
And you can
to
leave that one
large.
off. That's
It was
just
going
part
to
of
be a gradual
my.
change of size there.
I'm just trying to keep straight which is why I like this for educational pieces now, is we're talking through this versus the other.
Okay. All right, so basically, you had traffic flow, and then Palmer Park too close to Greenbrier. Right?
Yeah.
So the basically only two. Right, okay. Cindy,
Oh, okay.
do you have something?
I do.
Okay.
Oops. Well, I guess I'll put up the loss of opportunities in extracurricular activities.
Decreases extracurricular opportunities, right?
Well, decreases.
Yeah, decreases.
That's what I said, decreases.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you said increases.
Oh, no.
opportunities for
Decreases extracurricular.
And leadership.
Right. That goes in well with that. Okay. So I also had that, decreases that thing. So the other thing I had was there'd be really no mobility, or not mobility, but no ability for advanced students to take advanced classes, being two junior highs, that they wouldn't be able to go to the high school to take a math class or science class or whatever if they're, and I realize that's not very many students, but that would be a disadvantage, that you'd have to ship them somehow to get them up there.
Yeah, do you mind if I just
I know
said
that's
less?
happened in the past, because I know I've had kids come in that were bussed in from an elementary.
Yeah, I think in both, I think we're trying to say it's more convenient in a 4-2 versus, it's all going to happen.
Right.
And then in a 4-2-1, I don't think we would ever want to say
Yeah, it was
no
just-
ability. I just think it's less.
Limited.
Maybe
or
less-
limited or less, yeah.
It's less
ability.
convenient.
Yeah, I should say limited instead of no. Then I have one last one. It was at, in very large high schools, and talking with people that I know went to a very large high school, they often, if you're not one of the all-star athletes or all-star play person or whatever, those students often get lost in the shuffle when the school is too big. I don't know if that's just something that you would have to work on, but it is a complaint that I've heard out of a lot of people that were in bigger high schools, that they just kind of get lost in the shuffle.
I think sometimes the numbers are intimidating to kids that are not aggressive enough to pursue some of the opportunities that are there, that they maybe feel that they don't have a chance, that they don't, have an ability to participate in some things because there's so much competition for some of these things.
Aren't you kind of speculating on that?
Well, I think,
I mean, do we
Yeah,
have, you kind of...
certain things,
We're not saying
yeah.
that by doing this, that that's definitely going to happen.
But it's a disadvantage.
I'll just say
Right, I'm
that,
saying, but I'm just saying it's kind of speculating that that's what's going to happen. We
I'm
don't
just
know
going
that.
with
I think we're doing that
people.
with some of these things anyway. And I'll talk as having been a former Parma High School sardine from many years ago, and then transferred to Normandy when Normandy was built. But I was here as a 10th grader when there were over 3,000 kids in the building, and I know that's part of, I may be speculating on what would happen in the future, but I know what's happened in the past.
Right.
With
I'm just
some of
saying
that.
Kids are more connected today than they were, than they have been in the past.
Okay, so another thing I did have is that the fifth grade curriculum doesn't often fit in a middle school setting. That would be a disadvantage of that, of having a 4-2-1. But again, we haven't really decided where fifth grade's going yet.
I'm not,
But-
can you explain that? Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
So, I don't know that fifth grade is always, I don't know how I can explain that. The curriculum line for fifth grade is not similar to what a junior high kid would get, or a middle school kid, 7th or 8th grader. We'll get 7th, 8th grade changes classes, 6th grade are changing classes. Is that what's going on now? Or am I just totally off base?
I'm looking at
From
Tiffany because
fifth
I have
grade
no
on.
idea. No, she says no.
I can't see.
I just saw her head go down.
From 5th grade on, they change, but they don't have to. I mean, those, we can make adjustments based upon
Right, so it's-
principals and school leadership teams and all the folks that are in the pits doing the work.
Okay.
Do we mean change, like move classes? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. See, I think that's good for 5th graders.
Yeah.
That's one of my.
Well, I was saying it might be one of the disadvantages. I don't know. I was just trying to come up with some stuff. Okay, well, we can do that. We'll just leave that off then. Okay, anything else?
How many should we have for the first one, Charlie?
43 through 51 is 8 plus 1, 9.
Oh, shoot. Can you scroll up on this one? Community survey.
High school.
Sorry, this is our dinner though. Hello?
That's all right, we can do our things.
Okay, we'll send somebody out. Thank you.
I'm not going out. I'm just giving this to you.
Where it says like 8th grade drop off.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
We'll be out there in a second. Thank you, thank you. Carl, you mind going to?
That F a lot of people that get-
I don't know that we need to. And then Colleen set us up in student services.
I'm gonna make sure I got all the disadvantages. Can you scroll up?
Because the juniors, the extra middle school, but if we didn't have the extra middle school.
It's on Pam's screen. Can you scroll up a little bit, Pam?
I was afraid to do that or escape. I didn't want to screw it.
Other way. I need the other one.
She doesn't go to middle school.
Yeah, the disadvantages.
One's fine. It's available.
I'm not sure. Okay. So just 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're still missing one.
How many do we have in the,
5.
This here.
Missing one. Yeah.
I mean, I did it when we had.
Maybe we could just go up so I can see the disadvantages. Before too long.
can you scroll up for disadvantages, Charlie?
Traffic.
Yeah, it's on Pam's screen, so she's.
Palmer Park.
Oh,
No car space.
Pam. I'm sorry.
Cindy, I have it right here if you want to see it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, it's the less ability students.
What's the disadvantages? You want to see the advantages?
No, I'm working on the disadvantages right now, so, okay, I just have it worded different, so that's why you just have to find the right one here.
Offers more, but you don't have to have the same size.
You want me to give this a chance?
I can take it now. Pam's got one, I can enter one.
Okay, that's the one I'm missing, the last one.
CTE in one place.
Some of them other ones is
Sorry about that. I don't know how that get miscommunicated. You just didn't check it.
The problem is, there's so many emails sent, texts, I don't pay attention to them. I really don't. I just blow them off because there's just so many.
There is a lot.
And when you see me
Yeah,
text, it's
sort of, kind of.
glad he tells them, Charlie shares something with me. I'm glad he shares.
Right.
I don't text all this other stuff. I just don't.
Right, you're not on those very often.
No, I sometimes I read them, but most of the time I would try to read them, but there's so many of them.
Yeah, it comes fast and furious with this lady.
What it does is water down the good.
It comes fast.
It just,
Yeah, well, I'm sorry you were upset with it.
Part of the
It's
problem too is
not
that
intentional.
I don't finish a complete thought before I send a text message, so then there ends up being like 4 other ones.
Well, another thing is, I just,
You have,
there were things that like the middle school
Cindy?
changed, and of course I was sick,
Perfect.
so that, I missed that. But Charlie did share that with me, that, there's, we want 2 middle schools. I could kind of apply for that. All right. Keep himself in the hole, keep him harmonized. All these other people, they're not just elected officials to talk to. These are normal people. Normal people that don't want to live there or the move. Not for what the perception's going to be. It's cheaper than 2.
That's not reality.
I don't care. It doesn't matter.
Perception is reality.
Perception is reality.
I guess I wanted that to be reality, you know what I mean?
And I'm telling you, you never lived on the north side of the town.
That's where my husband grew up.
I was raised on the north.
That's where he grew up.
They resent. They resent.
But so the people under Normandy resent them.
Well, that's all right. That's going to be, that's happening. It's always going to happen. That's my kid. That's why.
Do we have,
Any question?
We're getting there.
are we all good?
We're getting there. She's finishing up down bottom.
You should have went to Parma. I sent my kids.
I don't have eyes in the back of my head. Not when like I used to teach, I saw everything.
She went to the Hillside. She was the one that I pulled earlier.
yeah, these mics are live, just, wow.
Oh, I'm sorry.
How we doing, Pam?
I really, quite frankly, Steve, I really need an opportunity to expand on a lot of these points. This does not give that opportunity,
I'll do it.
Okay, because I really,
Just trying to get it done.
some of the advantages and disadvantages, from my perspective, have,
I know you found solutions for it.
yeah, yeah. Or, not my solutions, more than anything, recommendations of ways
What do you think?
that we could overcome some of those. Yeah.
So you have to close class for room enrollment. I don't see that on here.
Oh, okay.
If you could just tell me a number, that would be great. In 5th grade and middle school, potentially 3 access roads. Those are the 3 that I don't have on here.
I can't see all of them at the same time. You can.
Scholarship.
So in the top,
Check too.
4.2, your disadvantages impact was rated 2.2 as an average, advantages was 1.875.
I think
2.2 disadvantages.
this one, the
4.2.
fewer academic, fewer opportunities for academic advancement. I think I had a 2, but I thought up here it was a 3. That's the advantages, it's not showing the disadvantages. So if you'll check that when you go back, because I looked, I said, man, yeah.
Okay.
And this is less likely to not have courses run, is that what it is?
3, yes.
Okay.
Okay, the 3 there?
Yeah, because I don't think it's many courses. Or it's not enough to make a difference.
This is good. I mean, look at the numbers. The numbers up here. What was it?
To have a clear,
So, I guess it was an email.
I mean, the plan was to have a clear idea of where, right, you know what I mean, education.
They didn't get this worksheet until today.
We can't see education.
Yeah, so we're going to have a last minute discussion on that, if you want to add.
I thought she put the wrong number
No,
up there.
you're abstaining, so I'll let you continue. Okay, all right.
Okay. On the top, we just didn't have a couple scores there? Not a problem.
This should tell us mathematically what's important to everybody. It's going to be close. It's going to be close right there.
Oh, thank you.
I think so too.
This is why I did this. If Jack added to it, it'd be different.
I am very close to being done.
Yeah.
We don't believe you.
We're on 421. Okay, the first one's CTE.
We can get a copy of this thing too. So I wanted to, while we're finishing that up, take the opportunity to go ahead and give you a last couple statements to elaborate on your thoughts on some of the advantages and disadvantages, if you have any. Mark, do you have any?
Yeah, with the 4-2, it lost twice, and the community is going to look at it as though we already have 3 buildings. If you're going down to 2, why pay for new ones? We can just go to 2.
Because it's a campus.
No, you asked what it is.
No.
I'm telling you what the community has said over the past year and a half during these campaigns. We have 3 buildings. Why should we pay for new ones when we can just close one and go to 2? So that's a big disadvantage to the 4-2. It lost twice, and it wasn't...
It was 6-2 before, it was 6 elementary, so.
It doesn't, it was the 2 high school model that lost it, not the number of elementary school campuses. Because I guarantee you, if we would be able to afford more elementary school campuses, you'd have even more support for the 4-2-1.
Okay.
It's...
Very good.
Do you want me to share the data yet or not yet?
Was it? No, we'll do these wrap up. Thanks for the
Okay.
question.
Okay.
We'll do that better. Cindy, I know you wanted to.
Yeah, a couple things. You know, the district unity was one thing that I found kind of compelling, you know. Not enough to put 3,000 kids in one building, because while you have talked to lots of folks that are interested in the 4-2-1 model, and you too, Jack, I've had also many folks that told me that they are not interested in one building either, including, believe it or not, many very involved former Parma High School graduates, which kind of surprised me. And not so much that, I mean, some were definitely wanted a 2 high school model, others were not opposed to a 2 high school model, I guess I'll put it that way. But in regards to the district unity piece, I think we could do a lot more now, even with 3 buildings, let alone with 2. And we could plan a lot of activities where we unite our district. And I don't think it's nearly as divided as it used to be. There was a lot of severe rivalry decades ago. I don't find that dislike for each other the way it was several years ago. That's not a big factor. But I think we could have lots of different activities, do some brainstorming on things. I just jotted down a few little things, like an intramural interscholastic game day where we bring kids from both schools together to participate in a variety of activities, joint musical programs. I know we do some of that now, but we could improve and do more of that. Clubs could get together. For instance, I'll use the history club. I know that's at more than one school. And those folks could get together maybe on a quarterly basis and share thoughts and ideas on what they are doing and what they could potentially do as a bigger group. Social events, of course, dances, those kinds of things, inviting each other to events.
Can I interrupt you real fast?
Yeah.
Did you intend to leave number 11 blank?
That was in more defined pathways.
No, give me a 2.
Give me a 2. Give me a 2.
Give me a 2 on that.
Would you like to supersize that?
John, give me a 2.
Quarter more.
Yeah. Regarding academic offerings, we might have the largest opportunity of sections at one high school, but it's certainly going to improve from 3 to 2. And I've said before, whichever plan we landed on, we're going to have greater opportunities for academic offerings. And maybe we need to be doing a little bit more. If we have some courses that we really believe should go, maybe we need to do more outreach to students by counselors, market these things better, and try to, help kids be more aware of some of those opportunities. And what else? Yeah, I'll skip that.
Okay.
Do you have anything that you wanted to say?
The only thing that I have to say is that my 2 goals at this point, at the end of the day, no matter what we do, new, consolidate, new, after, what, stay the same, I don't care. I want more educational opportunities for kids, and I want to blast through any perceptions. So if the perceptions are, how many campuses, like Mark was talking about, the different things, I want everybody to understand, that the 4-2 model is less expensive, and due to all the other changes, it's not, 421 is not capturing that old number that we used to all associate with closing a high school. And I just want to make sure that everybody kind of understands that moving forward. I will tell you, this was very insightful in ways and clouded me in other ways, so.
So in terms of cost difference too, I just want to point out it's a 2.8% difference.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'll save my comments for just a second. Let's take a peek. You want to give us the results there, Dr. Smilek?
Yes, so we did the best we could to juxtapose what you gave us into this. So the advantages for the 4-2 rated at a 2, disadvantages for 4-2 rated at a 2.2, advantages for 421 rated at a 2.277777778.
All right.
And disadvantages for 4-2 ranked at a 1.816666667.
So mathematically, based on what we did here, and thanks for indulging me with this, in doing this group. And I'll tell you, you guys worked very hard on it. I can see some of you spent a lot of time on doing the disadvantages and advantages and writing them down and getting them prepared to share. And I appreciate that. I appreciate it wholeheartedly. This is a very difficult decision here of what we got to come up with. And this is why I did this, because I know mathematically, if we did it, we get everybody's wants and needs, and it takes all the bias out of it. Like, people want this and people ask for that. This is right here in plain, simple, black and white, what we should probably pursue. And just looking at it is the 421 is the one that we should pursue.
Could you give us those numbers again?
Yeah, and Pam,
2.0.
Show them up here.
He can send you that link.
you guys all have it, actually. We shared
Actually, you have it.
at 3:45 today, but it's so advantages for 4-2 came out with an average of 2.
Oh, okay.
Disadvantages for 4-2 came out with an average of 2.2. Moving down to advantages for 4.21 would be a 2.28. And disadvantages for 421 would come out as a 1.82.
2.28.
2.78.
78, that's what I thought. I had written that down right the first time.
Oh, I'm sure.
So nearly 1. All right, so to wrap this up, so we can have our meeting coming up here in a half hour. So thank you, everybody, for doing this. And I know we can't vote on this here now, so we'll have to figure out what route we want to take when we vote on it this evening, here in a half hour. So I have this lengthy thank you to, I think I'll save that for the meeting, though, because that's better off there. But, so, any more comments, questions? I mean, I think it's pretty clear. This clears it up for me anyway, so it helped me out quite a bit. No more comments? Anybody? Nope. Okay. Then I move to adopt Resolution 2022-03-97 to adjourn this meeting.
Second.
We have a second, and we have a motion and a second to adopt Resolution 2022-03-97. Roll call, Mr. Nucio.
Mr. Vaughn.
Yes.
Mrs. Bratz.
Yes.
Mrs. Carpus.
Yes.
Mr. Kreis.
Yes.
Mr. Ruda.
Yes.
All right, so meeting's adjourned.